TikTok that I see every now and then comes up on YouTube Shorts, and it's a sloth. And when sloths be hanging on branches like this, for the thumbnail, just
either the 3 or the 2. It's always the 3-toed or the 2-toed.
The 2-toed. So essentially, I think they say this happens to a couple hundred sloths a year.
Okay.
So if we're talking all the sloths in the world here, that's
just a small fraction.
That's probably like 2% of the sloths. That they stink. They're so stupid, bro. That they see one of their arms and they think it's a branch. Mm-hmm. So they try to swing to their arms, bro, and then they fall off the branch and die.
Who collects that stat?
Dude, you got 100 National Geographic people hiding and that's one.
That's another one. Imagine that's your job. You just got a checkboard. You go into the Amazon and you're counting up how many dumbass sloths are mistaking their arm for a branch. That's the issue with camouflage. Yeah. Right? They think they're so clever, and then it comes back and it bites them. It gets them.
Well, it's like that classic saying, what did people do before they had ladders? They're like, oh, that shit's way too high, I can't fix that. Or it's like, did they climb on each other?
Right.
Or it's like, I can't fix that.
Or did they climb on each other? They do something.
They get up there somehow.
And that's a great point. How do you get coconuts that are up in the palm trees?
They just be shaking the tree like they're choking somebody out.
taking all their tribal anger out on the palm tree.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Coconut, straight on sound, you're my only friend. Oh, come here.
That's also, and then that you add on top of that, it's that same question of who's the first guy who tried cow's milk? So how do you know which fruit is safe and which is not? And how do you know it's worthwhile to try to chokehold the palm tree to get this ugly ass thing up in the tree? Oh, they're
so hairy.
And they're gross, yeah. There's so many who's and whys that I don't feel like answering, but it's a good question.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question.
We've come so far.
Yeah,
we've come so far.
We have. That's a hilarious thought, though, just tallying the dead sloths. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel bad for the people who have sloths as their spirit animals because I feel like the real spirit animals are Muppet.
But that's chosen.
It is chosen.
Right? Or do you?
No, you just choose it.
Or do you go on that online quiz thing?
Well, there's probably a way to be like your personality's most likely aligned with the minx. It's like, what? I guess that's it.
It's a minx.
The minx.
What is a minx?
Is that a real animal?
I'm sure minx is an animal.
That sounds familiar.
I'm picturing a 4-legged creature as a minx.
Yeah, it sounds like a cat, like a lynx.
Like a lynx, but a minx.
Yeah. I probably want to be like a weasel. Oh, no, not a weasel. What are they called? Ferrets? Those long rats?
I think those are... I'm pretty sure they're the same thing, but they're just... Because weasels, ferrets... I feel there's another name, too. Maybe it is a minx.
I think there's a box weasel.
Well, that's like a sub... It's like a subcategory. A subgenre of...
ferrets, they get box, or box weasels.
Where's the box lion?
Yeah, dude.
It's a good.
Yeah.
That in what are they called? Chinchillas.
Those are underrated. Those are really
very underrated.
We had a friend in 4th grade that had a chinchilla.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
It was a flex too for him to have that.
I think he had 2.
Did he bring it into class one day?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember it being
chinchillas.
I don't know if he brought it in or someone else, but I just remember it being super soft, and that's what chinchillas are all about. They're just super soft. But from what I hear, apparently,
allegedly,
they stink. They reek.
Really?
If you own a chinchilla, it's worse than cat litter.
Really?
Yeah, they smell so bad.
What are they? Are they? What are chinchillas?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would leave it up to those National Geographic people that we've been undermining. I think it's like a rabbit thing.
I feel like they're rabbits with sawed off ears.
Right?
They're just rabbits without the ears.
They're like rabbits but in the Amazon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right?
I think that sounds
They have that name that would be like a rabbit is just so
chinchillas from Chile, rabbits from
Ohio. Yeah. You know I was going with that.
Yeah.
It's like that's just a rabbit.
It is.
That's a chinchilla.
That's a chinchilla.
With a little tilde is what they say in Spanish. That little hyphen thing above a name that adds a little flair. Chinchilla.
If you could have any pet, what would it be? Any pet. So anything's on the table. So if this is, hey, I'm Mike Tyson, I got some tigers. This can be anything here. This can't be like a human though.
Yeah, that would be a little messed up.
Yeah. Or like a dinosaur. That's be a real thing.
It would, like you would want a dinosaur for like a minute.
Yeah, then you're just like, this is a hassle feeding him limbs.
Way too much.
Yeah.
What would my dream animal be? You know those you know those like little tiny pygmy marmosets? Those little tiny Madagascar. They're like monkeys, but so marmosets I think are a type of.
Is it what mort is?
Yes.
Those are cool.
Those are cute.
Yeah.
There's like something babies, sugar babies. I think that's what they're called.
Yes.
Super tiny, like they can wrap around your finger.
Yes.
I heard they're very like territorial and weird. But if it could be a dream scenario and they
bush
were
babies.
not with bush babies, thank
there
you,
it is.
sugar babies.
Sugar babies.
I feel like that's something else. I feel like that's something else.
Oh man.
I feel like there's money involved in that one.
Yeah.
Bush babies,
Thank
thank you.
Candies called sugar babies.
I'm sure.
Okay.
If not, we should do something.
Yeah, nice,
UOMO.
nice cover up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
UOMO sugar babies. If those candies don't just
imagine it.
Business moves.
Yeah.
Those are you. What would be your ideal animal be? And I feel like whatever animal it is, it's got to have something. And I'm curious to see if you're gonna bring it up.
Probably like a squid.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Word, bro. Okay, that was quick.
Dude.
Probably like a squid. Oh yeah, sure. That's great.
Imagine coming over and showing the homies the squid.
Okay, that's
you know. What I mean?
Yeah. It's all about the boys.
It's all about the boys, you know. And I use my printer a lot. I could farm it for its ink.
What if that shit inks everywhere? What do you do about that?
Probably like clean it up.
Make him clean it up.
Yeah, no, I actually would make him clean it up.
Those things are smart too, especially the octopus.
Yeah. You know, there's like Marvin the Martian.
Yes.
I think I named Marvin the Squid.
Marvin the Squid.
I think that could be cool.
No alliteration. No name that starts with S. Sammy the Squid.
Sammy the Squid.
Salvatore the Squid.
Not probably Marvin.
Yeah, no, Marvin's a good Squishy, you know?
Yeah. Squishy the Squid.
Squishy the Squid.
Did you just say that?
I did.
Oh,
Squishy. I was thinking of like the whatever.
This isn't a good sign.
I don't know my phonics, but like I think it's an adjective. I was just thinking of the adjective squishy. Yeah. I wasn't thinking of like the name.
I was thinking
Squishy
Nemo.
the Squid. I like
Nemo.
that.
Oh, you are my squishy, and I will call you my. Come here, no squishy. Come here. How?
That and what's the dude in Monsters University?
Squishy.
This is. Yeah, that one. Squishy.
Dude, Pixar loves their squishy things, bro.
Nah, I guess you do too, bro. With your squid.
Yeah, dude. If I'd have another animal, trying to get serious on
I feel like that would be high maintenance. So would a bush baby though.
Oh, this is a hard one to top. Like you go from squid to saying like a dog. Like I gotta really come up with something crazy here. This is off topic, but flamingos smell bad.
They smell terrible.
We're talking about chinchillas. I was thinking about those pink little monsters, bro.
It's really weird. Like I'll get back to where your animal was, but just like a super off topic. You're at the zoo and you see all these animals, and you're like, wow, they're so exotic. Like, wow, these wouldn't ever be in the U.S. or these wouldn't ever be in Ohio or whatever. most of those animals are true. Like, there's no elephant in Montana. But I guess there are flamingos that are native, I think, to Florida.
That's
and off the coast of Texas.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Or, I'm trying to think. There's birds that are very similar, but there's this one instance I was reading about a flamingo that was in like a Kansas zoo.
Wow.
They have them chipped, obviously, and the flamingo leaves the zoo, and 3 years later, they discover that same flamingo off the coast of Texas.
That's sick.
In like the Gulf Coast, which is like perfect environment for that animal.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know why, I just thought of that. Like, flamingos, you think of them in like Africa, but they can be here.
Yeah. That is
crazy.
That is sweet. That's very weird. It's a weird culture shock kind of thing. It's like, and then taking that a step further, alligators, crocodiles, those are things in the States.
Correct.
But if you see one in Ohio, that's weird.
It's weird.
We think like Florida, Louisiana, so not just something from another continent, but, something as well from a different state that happens to be up here. It's just strange. And speaking of crocodiles, alligators, I would probably go with, I would say the coolest animal I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that just looked like a monster, and that was an albino alligator. So this was at the Newport, Kentucky Aquarium.
Okay.
And I think to this day it is my favorite animal ever. I have a weird obsession.
With like the pink eyes and stuff?
Oh, yeah, dude. So white reptile skin, which you don't really see often, let alone alligator skin. The beady, pinkish red eyes.
Yeah.
Terrifying. If it's a rabbit, okay, maybe not really. But
those are just weird.
It is a little weird. Bunnicula. Do you remember that novel growing up? It was like a vampire rabbit called Bunnicula.
I feel like I've seen. They made us read that in like class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bunnicula.
Blickies and Bunnicula.
Yeah. But is it B or V?
B.
Bunnicula.
Bunnicula.
Oh, that's clever, bro.
That's kind of sick.
Okay, it took me a second.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very clever.
The alligator. So in general, I have a weird obsession with albino animals in specific. My favorite probably being the alligator. If I had to own one, I think a Dalmatian makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Those are very fascinating. So the spots are reversed.
That's cool.
So it's white fur, and the spots are khaki.
Yeah.
But then it also can be black fur with khaki spots and pink eyes.
Wow.
Which black with khaki spots and pink eyes is crazy.
That's very cool. That's kind of like a charitable service project if you were to own one. Because those things are probably mad blind.
Oh, dude, those things are stupid blind. Running into this table.
Yeah.
You good? Like and just, but obviously way harder, right?
It's like this one. The B movie where she's like going into the one. This one. This one. All right, this one. You got it, buddy. You got it, Spot. You got a Spot.
Oh, that's amazing.
Spot the squid, bro.
Put it this way. Take an alligator. Alligators come up on surface sometimes, but 9 out of 10 times when they do, it's just to like grab some food. But the eyes are typically just a little bit above water, stalking you. Well, in this case, when I was reading about this alligator, I think it's like one of like 7 ever spotted albino alligators ever.
That's crazy.
And in this case, they had 2 at the aquariums. So
wow,
that's awesome! What a flex! Yeah. They live at the bottom of the lake or the river, wherever they're living, because the sun will burn them if they come up too high. That is crazy that they had to go down there and wrestle. They had to wrestle a white alligator. They had to go down and wrestle a white alligator.
Yeah. You're looking
from
for one too.
From the depth of the
right. Unless you're just
who are these guys?
Right. Who are these guys that are counting the number of deaths of a sloth? Yeah. Who are these guys that are skimming the bottom of a river
for a white alligator?
Yeah. Who are these guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah,
it's a cool find. It really is.
That is really cool. That is really cool. I mean, I don't have that perhaps type of fascination, but it is respectable, and I think it's cool. I think it's very cool. Especially when I was thinking about it, like these animals have such a disadvantage. But then I just remember during the summer, you put on sunscreen, and for me being as pale as I am, I have to put SPF 80.
Woo!
And you got to put it on. You got to let it soak in before you get in the pool. But the pool has this way of like, if you don't get under your eyes, at least for me, or under my nose, or under my chin, which is a place you don't really put sunscreen, the sun will reflect off of the water and bounce out. And I will be burnt down here, under the nose, even though I've covered everything else.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes is like a lot of times you'll sunscreen all of this, your face, whatever. You always forget the legs.
Oh, always.
Until, at least for me, you're burnt there. And so for me, I literally cover everything because I've been burnt in a weird way, some way. I've even burnt like in between my fingers.
Really?
Yeah, it's not very cool. But the sun, I guess, goes through the water and it amplifies. So it really amplifies the burn.
Really?
So for like any albino animal, obviously you probably want to be in shade and stuff like that. But in particular, for an albino aquatic animal like an alligator or fish, because now the sun is amplified through the water.
Yeah.
So I think that's fascinating. And then you think about, how do they get food? Because they can't go out. So
Exactly.
I'm sure food probably sinks, or any dead animal, they become like the vultures of the river.
Yeah,
it's
and
cool.
That is sick. And
That's
alligators too, they're probably living very meek diets because the stuff that they would need to eat, probably being up there, they can't really live off a bunch of little fish.
I'm sure.
But I do hope to one day own the world's biggest collection of albino animals. Although like it's gonna reach poaching level territory. But like if I just have a fish tank with a bunch of white fish with red eyes, I think that is awesome. Yeah. What would you hope to be the collector of one day? Like, hey, one day, how dope would it be to have a collection of this? Could be fragrances. Could be a lot of things.
Yeah. So obviously with our table, we have a couple colognes, and probably for the next X amount of episodes, there's going to be a different pair, which is really cool. I think for us, just even a year ago, with our fascination with colognes, we would have loved to have had what we have now. So it's really cool. Like, it's not a flex. It's kind of just like part of who we are, something that we share together. So that is probably my first ever really big collection. And then just recently, huge soccer fan. Huge. I am not a huge fan of the MLS, which is the league here in the U.S., but I just went to a game in Columbus, and that was my first time ever going to a professional game. It was awesome. The environment was cool. Really, the quality of soccer was really good. And now, with us living here in Cincinnati, I just bought tickets for a game in a couple weeks for the FC Cincinnati game.
October 1st?
October 1st.
Let's go.
October's very own.
Dude,
so
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. But I go into that because at the Columbus Crew game, they gave us these towels. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They call these things the terrible towels, and people are waving them, or like Cavs playoff games.
I've had a couple Cavs ones.
Yeah. So the same concept there would be a corner kick, a goal kick. Scream and go, hey guys, wave your flags. Oh, woo, woohoo!
Woo! Hey!
And after the game, we waited, and the players came out and we got some signatures. So I got to get that towel signed.
Yeah.
A big thing in soccer is these scarves. And it started way back in the day because, the big soccer games are in England, and there are times when it's very cold. So the scarves, and they turned it into like this fandom where you put the colors of the team, you put the logos, you put different inside jokes with the team. And I eyed down my collection when I went to the Columbus Crew store, and I see this super cool Columbus Crew scarf.
Yeah.
And with those signatures that I have, those autographs that I got, I was like, I haven't started it yet, but that would be my next collection.
I love it.
So soccer scarves would be a very cool. Just picture a man cave with all the scars just all along the wall or something like that.
Super sick.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And then that or books. And books. I'll say and books.
I think we have a pretty good collection so far. I
Yeah.
feel like that's something that as a man you can never really have enough of. Books is something that my brother's always dove into. My dad has a pretty nice array of books in his office,
What kind of books would you say either your dad or your brother that they have?
Pretty much all historical related. And it's interesting, like everybody collects a certain kind of book.
That's the cool thing with books too.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many different genres and niches, and styles, really. So
it's like my mom's cookbooks. My my brother, he is, he's like historical. Some graphic novels. My dad's also like historical. And then for me, it's concept art related. I don't really have many other kind of books. Fortunately, I got no self-help books, so I'm shooting myself in the foot there. But how about you?
yeah, so for me, I would like to slowly progress to sci-fi, which is a really cool genre. I think there's some really cool old-timey books I can get that I'd love to read. Self-help is the most dominant type of book in my collection at the moment, and there's a lot on my list that I want to learn and get. I feel like they help to some degree, and it's just really cool to just get perspectives of lives from other people. Autobiographies are also really good. So I just got my first soccer one, but that's a really cool genre I'd love to explore because there's just so many people that have done really cool things that I'd love to kind of read about. Phil Knight, Shoe Dog is a book that I want to add to my collection. I see you have yours over there. There's so many different styles, and it's the cool thing about books. I'd love to have some concept art. The list goes on and on. It's just really cool to build it. How about you? I know you mentioned concept books, but
yeah, concept books for the most part. I just love flipping through concept art. I love looking at ideas that people poured lots of time into that nobody saw. I love this notion that with Star Wars, for instance, I'm a big Ralph McQuarrie fan, and Ralph McQuarrie being the guy who essentially drew up what would Darth Vader look like, what would Luke Skywalker look like. George Lucas only had these ideas. Yeah. Darth Vader's going to wear black, and I want him to look like an evil space invader, but I also want him to almost look like a samurai too. Mm-hmm. How do you blend those together? And Ralph McQuarrie was the guy that did that. But a cool thing about Ralph wasn't just the fact that he did characters, he painted scenes with the characters. First ever concept artist to do anything like it. It's almost like The Last Supper, but in this case, so there's the scene and then there's all the biblical figures, and you can look at each figure like, that right there, that's Judas, that's Jesus. And this is very similar, very iconic. The characters are put just much detail into is also the background.
Yeah.
And the scene itself. So that really helped George Lucas kind of refine his script, tell a story, and allowed him to visualize the characters. Therefore, he could do a better job with casting and costuming.
Gotcha.
So it's amazing. So from that point on, I was always just obsessed with those original 1977, production artworks. Well, technically they were made in 76 because the movie came out in 77. And then the guy did the prequel artwork, episode 1, 2, and 3, Doug Chiang. He's a beast.
This is the guy behind, General Grievous.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and, for me, that's my favorite era of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So to kind of see how it came together is super cool. And, of course, Bigfoot's, shoes to fill. So I do have some concept art from video games as well, because those are very immersive worlds. Yeah. I guess I like my art that doesn't just consider characters. It's the worlds, the ships, the technology, the weapons, and then, of course, the characters. And for me, being in fashion design, that definitely helps looking at that creative process similar to that of how we create clothing too.
Sure.
From a conceptual side. So
you have a shoe, which is beautiful and amazing. Now let's see it functioning. Let's see it work. Let's see a running shoe. I just want to look at the running shoe. Let me see it on a trail in Oregon, for example. Kind of like that. Exactly. The world, how it kind of interacts with the world around.
Exactly.
That's cool. I like that.
And I know you were big on a book that you were reading, Daily Stoic. Go into it.
So Daily Stoic is a daily book that entails from January 1st through the 31st of December. And it's just a really, really cool book that kind of breaks down certain Stoic principles, and it breaks it into kind of like the seasons of a year. And so each month kind of has its own topic and rhetoric that it kind of tries to follow. And then it just takes these passages from these very astute Stoic philosophers. So you have, the great Marcus Aurelius, which is one of the last great Roman emperors. You have Seneca, who was a slave, I believe. And you picture the strife of being a slave, all the battles that you go through, and how do you make a life out of that? So it's a very strong, very morally tough perspective. So it's cool because then it takes these very archaic writings from these guys from a long time ago, and then the author Ryan Holiday, who's a modern day Stoic, he kind of translated it to today's, and so it's just a really cool read. And I appreciate you bringing it up because it's been a really enjoyable process, and the Stoic principles are very, very helpful. So yeah, it's a good book, and it's one that I will have for a long time because life gets busy. I fall short. I wish I could say I've read every single day, but
Sure.
I haven't.
Yeah.
And so it's good. It's a good, like next year I want to get all 365 days. Fingers crossed. But you just pick up where you can because every day brings a little wrinkle of wisdom. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks.
Yeah. It reminds me of a book that my mom put me onto, Jesus is Calling, which there's a lot of different other versions of it, daily devotions, but it's like your little message for the day,
Sure.
and then biblical passage, but then also, hey, layman's terms, here's how you can implement it to modern day. And it's really cool. And as you were talking about Daily Stoic, I was thinking about, Jesus is calling. Of course, think about Jesus.
That's a good guy.
I was thinking about this, like artifacts,
Mm-hmm.
right? Think, of course, Indiana Jones. First movie, there's the Ark of the Covenant. Second, it's the Temple of Doom. Third, Temple of Doom, there's like a rock that has to do with it. Third is the Holy Grail.
Is that the one where he's getting chased by the rock?
That's the first one, actually.
Oh,
so that's
iconic.
It's so cool. It is. It's like a really cool cold open where he's going for this gold little totem from like this tribe. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a really cool opening
That's
scene.
very cool. George Lucas, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the fourth. Hey, I'm impressed. The fourth King and the Crystal Skull. It's kind of based off like a sham artifact, something it's not really real, but it's sort of a thing. Making Indiana Jones 5. We don't really know about
They
what,
are?
Yeah. We don't know what artifacts they're going for.
Okay.
And but if it were to be an artifact, which one do you think it would be? Probably something that existed in this world. Probably something very valuable. And I have a crazy idea that would be amazing if it worked out, but I wonder if you have any.
For Indiana Jones 5,
Indiana Jones 5.
what artifact are they going for?
Yeah, artifact throughout history. There's a crazy one that's probably worth a lot of money that I can think of.
I'm trying to think like. I have to get philosophical here, but everyone's got their own artifact that they're going for.
Sure.
But what is the world's? You think of King Arthur's sword.
Right. Yeah. If you have this thing, you have power. Kind of thing.
That's a very cool one. I think of the Holy Grail, all the treasures that the Knights Templar were able to extract. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What else? What you said you had a idea that you would have for number 5.
So I don't know what happened to it, but Jesus' cross has to be if we are talking from a value standpoint, a bidding war, that has to be the most expensive artifact maybe of all time.
Yeah. It's just a piece of wood, but there's so much there's so much to it. Well, I mean,
it's literally cheap as heck, and it's been fractured by nails.
The Roman in some blood.
Got homie Jesus' blood all up dried on there.
The Romans.
Sweat.
The Romans know how to build stuff, though, and I'm sure it's good quality stuff. Sure.
I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it's 2 2x4s.
Yeah, they just they went to Roman Depot.
Yeah.
And they built it with some 2x4s.
They couldn't even, dude. They couldn't
Roman
even.
Depot. Nice,
dude.
Good play on words.
They couldn't even make it be. So I always wondered this, growing up. Why not make the cross is a T?
Yeah.
Why not make it an X? So allow me to explain. First of all, it sounds more torturous.
It does.
That's what they're going for.
Right.
2 is right. Jesus, they have to prong both of his feet with a nail. That must be a huge nail to get both of his feet and then stretch him open. But if it's an X, you can open up both feet and do it this way.
Yeah.
So you get, that way you can stretch open both the legs. Probably makes it easy to go pee too, because you just be peeing off the cross, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, watch out! Don't walk this way. But also,
hey, my bad, just chilling on the cross.
No, hey, I literally can't stop it. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's the third time today. They don't even give you water. Just let me get it out.
At least you don't have to wash your hands.
Oh yeah, that's the definition of no touch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus. It's like, what are you complaining up there? At least you don't have to wash your hands.
Up there.
Be a little more optimistic. Gosh. It's all about perspective. At least you don't gotta wash your hands.
Oh my god.
That's always the worst when your mom and dad are like, you wash your hands.
Oh
my god.
Did you brush your teeth? Yeah, let me smell.
Yeah.
You did not.
You did not.
Despicable me.
Let me smell.
Yeah, dude, when they say let me smell, they caught you slipping.
Yeah, bro.
Trying to smell that dial
That's
soft soap.
That's a lose-lose. Just
take it.
It's the whole, like, touching the toothbrush, and if it's wet, they brush their teeth until the kid gets smart. And
I never thought about that.
Oh.
Clearly I wasn't smart.
Well, if the kid gets smart, if the parents show their hand, and they're like, well, I know you didn't brush your teeth because your toothbrush is dry. Kid will get smart and just be like, put it on the faucet 2 seconds. Now the parents are like, okay, you did brush your teeth.
That kid's a genius.
Kid's a genius. Speaking of genius,
no.
What would be the genius artifact beyond the cross?
If we're not talking about the cross here?
I'm just trying to tie it back because I really like our conversation with...
Maybe... So this would be taking it in a different direction beyond kind of a religious... So with Indiana Jones and all that, there's always like a religious context to the artifacts that he's after. I think just a crazy... So some people consider mankind's greatest achievements going to the moon. So I think as far as a singular piece of technology or something that could sit in a living room, the Apollo 11, the thing, or in a museum, I should say.
Yeah, or this.
That's just the Apollo 11. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving, man.
Yeah,
I gotta show you my albino crocodile on the basement. There's nothing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Also, I think a vector, we were talking about Despicable Me with the shark swimming around. Oh yeah, squid launcher! Oh yeah!
Oh, you're becoming Vector, bro.
Yeah, dude, Marvin.
Squid launcher?
Yeah, he has the shark, dude, that's like going all the way around. He's playing Wii. Dude, that's so sick.
Awesome.
But yeah, so Apollo 11, I think, is a really big one. As far as just like an artifact, like whoever has that is holding mankind's greatest achievement, except for like, I don't know, Buzz Aldrin's bones. Like, that's a pretty big thing. How about you? You got a third?
I'm sure they would go for a lot.
Buzz's bones.
Buzz's bones.
Yeah. That could be a cool bar.
Well, with the moon too, it's like, I mean, with the new Artemis program that they're gonna come out with. I like how we talk about space in back-to-back episodes.
Yeah, this is cool.
Just imagine the kind of money you can make with just getting a little Ziploc baggie, and just you're making a couple trips to the moon. Just scoop a little moon dust in there, a little moon rock, sell it per gram.
Yeah,
Make
little
money, little baggies. Yeah,
that could be
lunar.
Really cool. Yeah, and it'll sell really good on college campuses.
I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's more of a higher end sell. Could be more corporate.
It actually got boardrooms.
Yeah, I would go bonkers. Imagine walking some like random, like stereotypical CEO boardroom office. He's got a little vial of moon dust.
Oh, dude. You put the vial on like a necklace and just put it around. And then it's got a necklace.
That honestly is really cool.
That would be
just sick. Like back in the day when like royals or the Egyptians they found one diamond, and that is like the diamond because diamonds are so rare and they have it on their crown. Yeah. That's moon dust. That's a moon rock.
Yeah.
Imagine having a moon rock wedding ring.
And then imagine right, huge. You would dump tons of money into this.
Massive.
This is something that. You would live out, the rest of your days as being so proud of owning that. 300 years from now, they're like, they give it out for like charity.
Yeah.
Like they give it out because it is like next to nothing. Everybody has one.
Everyone has it.
Yeah.
But now, ton of money.
I feel like if we ever colonize the moon, whether it be Mars, moon, it doesn't really matter. Wherever we colonize next, I feel like there should be like a swag bag, some sort of goodie bag.
Yeah, a welcome to welcome to the moon, welcome to Mars.
Here's a moon rock.
Here's a moon rock.
Here's a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I live here now.
I heart New York. I heart the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Made on the moon.
Made on, dude.
That
would be crazy.
Made on the moon. Yeah.
Imagine just in like what 40, 50, 100 years, you're looking up at the moon. It's just a random night, and you look over, and you can just see all the buildings on the moon. Just think about that. It's crazy.
That would be pretty sweet.
I wonder if, like, depending on the base, because with just even telescopes that we can get, you can get a really good, clear picture of the moon, and you can really even see the divots. I wonder if you can see a base, you know?
It's possible. I
That'd be
think
really
so.
cool, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. That would be such a weird feeling, but maybe a proud feeling for humanity.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
That would be really sweet. You know, there's not to think about that show For All Mankind dating. So we did talk about it in the last episode. There's this really sweet episode though where somebody's wife is on the moon, and then the astronaut that she's married to is back on Earth, and he's going to go to the moon soon. And there's this really cool scene where they're like staring at each other from the moon, and he's staring up at her on the moon, and it's like obviously they're probably not locking eyes. She's probably looking at China, but like, you know, odds, right? Yeah, it's a thought that counts, and odds are like that is just kind of neat. And you know, they FaceTime up there on the moon, and yo, what's up, Dad? Hey, I'm up here on the moon doing some moon business. Awesome, Dad. Can't wait to see you come back soon.
Doing some moon accounting.
Yeah. Doing that moon mining.
Moon mining. Yeah, that is awesome. It is. I mean, just to have that perspective, I feel like being an astronaut is so cool for so many reasons. But just, I think your whole world would change, and how you perceive life would just be so much different when you can look at Earth from a bird's eye view. Because then you just realize, wow, what I'm going through is so small. Because this world is so big, and at the end of the day, we're all just living on this planet. I don't know why, but to me, that would be such a dream to see that and to be, because it just hit you.
Yeah,
like that would be really cool. Like a lot of people talk about going to the ocean, and that's beautiful scenery. There's just something calming about it. But I want to look at the Earth from the moon. Yeah. That would be cool.
Do you think the next big steps is, do you think we colonize the moon? Do we get people on Mars? Or do you think we establish like an underground mall in the sea? What do you think, bro?
I do think that's a good point, because I don't think that the
whole lot of unexplored
gets enough credit.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that 5% of the ocean's been discovered or explored. I cannot imagine what is under there.
Right.
That is a fascinating concept. There is even like this. I could be totally putting this on, extrapolating this, but I was watching this video. There's like this submarine, and it's in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's dropping down. It's going down, deeper, and then there's all of a sudden like this layer that you can see in the water, and it's like this cloudy, I don't even know. And then they go down through the clouds.
Really?
And it's just this whole nother world.
Wow.
I want that
insane.
To me is like, I want to invest as much time, energy, money, etc., resources into exploring space. But there's so much in our ocean that we can learn from and see.
What is the most dangerous of the three, do you think? The deep sea, the moon, or Mars?
Oh wow. I think just because we're so acclimated to the atmosphere, and I mean the deep sea provides its own dangers. I'd actually say the moon's the safest.
Sure. Yeah.
Then the deep sea, and then Mars. That's a good question. How about what would you put your rank?
I agree with you on that. I like the moon because it's almost so boring.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is like, you know, when there's like potholes in your car, not in your car, but you drive your car so you can avoid the potholes. Dude, that's gonna be a bitch trying to avoid all of those on the moon, dude. So that'll be very interesting.
They're broke up there on the moon, bro.
Right.
They don't got the kind of the taxes in the moon are just whack.
Oh no, my Rolls Royce just hit a pothole on the moon.
Rolls Royce. My moon rover.
My moon rover. Yeah. I think the deep sea is second. If you hit an earthquake down there, you are absolutely screwed.
Yeah.
And you know, there's certain earthquakes that you know the earth will feel down there that we won't even feel here on the surface.
Yeah.
Because even just slight shifts cause little quakes. So that I think is a massive danger. But I'm sure, given modern day science and stuff, they can find the best spot to implement an underground, you know, mall or underwater city. The thing is, like, if you build a city underwater, you don't have to worry about flooding because, you know, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think of like the Kenobi show, right? There's glass, and then somebody puts a lightsaber through the glass.
You're done.
You're done. The whole base gets wiped out.
Right.
So I feel like that's really dangerous. We're not even talking about the sea creatures because odds are you won't be swimming around. But then Mars is just it's the one that we know the least about.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, either A, it's because it's that hard that we haven't built a city underwater, or because it's that dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, we have so much land that probably at this point it may not make sense to go underwater. But I mean, climate change or not, global warming or not, the sea level is rising. So I don't know why, but it is rising, and maybe we're just forced. We might be forced to, and I don't see an issue. This is something I was thinking about when you were talking with our minute knowledge on Mars. I'm curious to see what percentage of Mars has all of the rovers over the last 20, 30 years with their explorations. What percentage of Mars have we been able to extract data and pictures and videos? Obviously now with that little helicopter drone thing, which has been fascinating.
Heck yeah.
There probably could come a time where we have explored Mars at a higher percentage than even our ocean.
Sure.
Which is crazy to think about. Regardless, all three of those elements are dangerous. We are out of our element in all of those situations. We're not made for that. Sure. We're weak. We're susceptible. But that's the cool thing about humans is our intellect.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Our curiosity. I would say for us, I would like to see a big base on the moon.
Pretty cool.
I think they've talked about it and theorized that the moon could be a base, a pit stop, if you will, to Mars.
Yes.
So you fly to the moon, you refuel, you get your food, whatever, and then you take off to Mars. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think whether it be Star Wars or just other fiction, the moons, except for like the forest moon of Endor, is like the only one I can think of. And then in this case, if we are talking Kenobi, Fortress Inquisitorius is the moon of Mustafar. So except for those two planets, not that Star Wars is anything to go off of, but it's always been kind of portrayed as not a planet, but like a fueling station, a pit stop, a point A to point B, the middleman between planets. So I really do like that concept a lot. I do know that Artemis, that there is not just a launch of going back up to the moon, but there's been lots of artwork and even like I think it was Industrial Lights and Magic. They put out like a CGI model scale of what the moon base is supposed to look like and everything. Awesome. But obviously taking the time to send that stuff up there would take, you know, a good while. And this is totally off topic, but I just realized, or just found out the other day, that there's a sequel to the Martian book. Did you know this? So I think that's one in your collection. Yeah, right?
So that's so funny.
Totally off topic.
It's so funny because I was just looking through my collection today, and I looked at The Martian, and I was like, I swear, there's just another book. I swear there's another book.
I have no idea what it can even be about.
I don't know either. That sounds like a very good book. It does. It was a really good read. Probably like most. I always hear this, and this is no exception. The book was better than the movie, for sure.
Okay. See,
I didn't read better. I really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah.
I read it pretty quick. I'm a very slow reader, but when it's a good book, you'll read it quick. It was a lot of fun.
No, I definitely enjoyed the movie. I think that was the first time I remember seeing, like, excuse me, Childish Gambino in an acting role before he did Solo or anything. I know he did Community for a lot of years, but that's cool. But yeah, no, I think I do wonder the underwater potentials, and whether it be Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, or whoever's doing these podcasts. There's a lot of talk about space, but I don't hear a lot of talk about the water side of things, and I wonder why that is. But I see potential. But yeah, moon base would be super cool. I think they said Mars is going to be like 2024. But even then, that's like somebody will be on Mars. Does not mean there's going to be much established.
Right.
So
that was just such a. I remember when news like that came out. Oh, we might be in Mars in 2024, and you're like, wow, that's a long time ago, or time from now. That's not that far.
Do you think it's going to be a cultural event? Like when everybody sits down to watch Walter Cronkite talk about there's a man, we are on the moon. Like, is that going to be a moment where the world stops, sits down, like you and me are, and they zoom in? Is everybody in Times Square going to be on their phone watching it happen? Or do you think it's just going to be another thing in the news?
I think, for me, human history, there have been really big moments and huge achievements. The Great Wall of China is a architectural feat. How the Romans expanded and even built their aqueducts way back when. Yeah. The technology and the intellect that they had is phenomenal. The pyramids, the Great Pyramids, those are huge events and accomplishments in human history, and right up there with them, if not the greatest the greatest accomplishment of all is us going up to the moon. And that is definitely a period in time. I don't ever wish to be born in the 50s and grow up in the 60s. That would be the one instance where I would like to, because I wish I could have been there to kind of just sit there in front of the TV and watch them land and walk about the moon. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, I would hope it would be a cultural event. If we can get to Mars, then that clearly tops the moon. So I do like that we're pushing for it. I hear the argument with people, and I'm sure you've heard about this. People are like, well, we should worry about the issues here.
Yeah, put the funding here and whatnot. But, it's always about setting up that contingency plan, that if things here, for whatever reason, did go south, you look elsewhere for resources and whatnot. The reality is what kind of resources are on a desolate, dry planet.
And what's the point? But I think, so Elon Musk said this, and I just thought it was so cool. He's like, for us to get to Mars, we would become an interplanetary species.
That's cool.
That sounds cool. Yeah. That sounds very cool.
It's like the people that buy like a plot of land in Ireland just thinking of the title of Lord.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Dude.
Lord Licorice.
Lord Licorice.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I
never knew that.
Yeah.
I have to look into that.
Lord Allen.
Lord Vichon.
So my dog turned into a snake. Yeah, dude. That's amazing.
You would, if you became Lord, the next step would just turn your name legally to Vader.
Yeah.
Oh. That's if you're Lord already, might as well just go all in.
That'd be sick. Yeah. My screen name, Dr. Vindy. That would be really sick to be Lord Vindy. Also, going into Star Wars here, Count Dooku. I think that's not like the coolest name in Star Wars canon, but his Sith name, Lord Tyrannus.
That's cool.
That has to be like the coolest name ever. Tyrannosaurus? That would be an awesome artifact, dude. They finding a T-Rex.
Tyrannosaurus. Well, it's like those people who my name was going to be Alejandro, which is so cool.
That's baller.
And a lot of people named Alejandro, they go by Alex. And it's like, Alex is a cool name. Count Dooku's a cool name.
Yeah.
But
Lord Tyrannus?
Tyrannus? Alejandro?
Alejandro? You put a little robot
Alejandro? What? See, they're missing. I think it should have been. Those prequels should have been Lord Tyrannus. Tyrannus, right?
Yeah, Tyrannus.
Tyrannus, that's right.
That is sick. You know, in all the Star Wars knowledge I have, that's the one thing I don't know where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's pretty sweet. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's on the nose. Darth Maul, as like I'm going to like maul you. Like there's certain things that are on the nose. General Grievous is a very on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
If we know what Grievous means. There's from Star Wars Resistance, there's a character named Agent Tyranny.
That is,
you know, like
Insidious.
Yeah, like they're very on the nose names. Tyrannus, I get it. Tyrannosaurus is a very intimidating creature, but Count Dooku not that intimidating. He's an old man. Time to put him in the home. What can he do?
What can he do?
Yeah,
he's nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
No, dude.
Curved hilt.
He eats his dinners at 3:00 in the afternoon. He drinks Metamucil. He does some old people stuff.
You could have the foreshadowing like Darth Vader. Vader?
Yeah.
What?
What?
I'm playing on words.
That was way before that Google. Nowadays, like, there's no way that would ever happen nowadays. You got all those, you know, breakdown channels.
Those TikToks. We cracked the code. We got it.
So here's a theory for you. Oh, man.
Those theory videos are so interesting. Especially when the pandemic, when Disney was coming out with some really good shows.
Oh, that's all I watched.
Yeah. Those were so much fun. I mean, like, the Marvel shows that they came out were fun, were very good. The Mandalorian, obviously, that came a little before the pandemic, but it really, I think, blew up. And so, like, I think what is New Rockstars? Is that a channel? Yeah. I personally loved to binge watch with Loki, because Loki just had so much detail to it.
That was awesome.
So good.
So right now we got She-Hulk out now too. How would you rank the Disney Plus Marvel shows?
Yeah.
Based on like what you've enjoyed, and like if She-Hulk ends really good, slot it in there as such, or if it ends really bad, where would you slot it in? Like, based on no matter how it's going now, based on how it would end, you think?
I mean, I could probably put in what I would project or how I currently feel about She-Hulk. I'm gonna take it out of the ranking for now, and I'll throw it into where I feel like it is. But I think you and I undoubtedly have Loki number one.
Loki's a fantastic
show, and you have your reasons why you love it. I think I just really enjoy it. It's very well done. But there's some of the sentimental components that you've shared with me that are very cool about it. Probably Falcon and the Winter Soldier at 2.
Okay.
That's tough. I think from there it kind of just. I think WandaVision is very. I personally enjoyed it. Yeah. It took some time to get into it, but it's very unique and well done. And then from there you kind of just. I haven't seen Hawkeye, so I can't personally rank it. But I think you would put... I'll let you rank. But when I hear, I'd actually put Hawkeye, then WandaVision. And then... that's where it gets tough, because Moon Knight I did not like. But I honestly think it might have been better than Ms. Marvel. I don't know. Where would you go?
It's very tough. Like you said, after that top 3, then it's kind of apples to oranges.
Heavy, very top-heavy list.
Loki hits. I think it is the most infinitely deep thing that Marvel has ever created, besides certain comic runs. I think Civil War is a very deep story. I think, Marvel is a lot of things. Family fun is always that one thing that it is. I think Multiverse of Madness tried to be very deep with them always asking Strange, are you happy? That's how the movie starts. That's how the movie ends, with that question. But I don't know if they ever explored that fully. Loki was something they explore forwards and backs. That it's just a truly triumphant show as far as you have feelings, and they're sometimes very hard to put to words. And I think that show put into words like no other. Whether it be breaking down narcissism or figuring out the people in this world that you love, or people that are like yourself, but also it makes you feel weird about it. Why do you do evil things? Why do you? There's a lot of stuff there, and also what does it mean to be a hero? Because you take a villain, you turn him into a hero.
That's deep.
But does he like that? There's a lot there.
There's
Loki,
a lot there. See, that's why I'm like, I enjoyed the show. I know you loved it.
I'm
glad I got your perspective from that. That makes me like the show even better.
I'm glad it does. It is lacking a proper villain. I was talking with my brother about this. There's Renslayer, who's the person in charge of TVA, who kind of keeps everybody in line. Okay, but then Sylvie's also a villain at first, but then not. But it disobeys Loki in the last episode because she has her own motives. Maybe she is. Kang is a villain, but he's also not. It's very tough. And for me, a villain is what makes or breaks the show. So interestingly enough, as much as I love it, I actually cut the show slack for that. And I don't know why. And then Falcon Winter Soldier 2. Although I would say I think the villain in that one's probably the worst of any of the shows.
Really?
Nah, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Marvel. How can I say that?
I think with Loki, not to get too deep with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's battling himself in many instances too.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe from a different perspective, maybe the lack of a villain, well, very strong ones, that the lack of a villain allows you to really allow him to battle himself, which I think is cool. It's very introspective.
Dude, yeah, you're absolutely on the money with that. Very, very, very much so. You know what, too? There's that episode where there's all the different Lokis.
Yes.
And you see there's a Loki who's trying to take control over all the other Lokis, isn't the presidential thing,
yeah.
And he's so quick to try to defeat all the other Lokis to be the definitive Loki.
Yeah.
And that's literally the definition of battling yourself, as you said. So I like that. Okay, yeah.
I do agree still. There's a lack of a main villain or a super strong villain, but I would then, again, to reiterate, it is nice because it allows you to it makes it about him instead as he's battling himself. That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's the deepest show, by far.
By far. And I think Falcon Winter Soldier touches on really good political side of things. And I said it is the worst villain. I'm not really referring to John Walker. He's one of my top 5, probably top 3 favorite Marvel characters. I guess I was talking about the Flag Smashers. I should have specified, and then the Power Broker side of things.
Yes,
probably the 2 biggest letdowns in some time, Marvel-wise. But I would go that at 2. Got Hawkeye at 3. It's just a lot of fun. You said any story around Christmas, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I liked seeing.
We're coming around, so I definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have to now.
It's next on the list. We're watching The Boys right now, so
yes.
I got you at least to watch that.
Yeah, right.
So
that buys me some time, so I jump into Hawkeye.
4th, WandaVision. It used to be my least favorite, but with new additions to the collection, they're all been pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
How's your view on WandaVision now that some of these other shows have come out?
So quality, I think it's there.
Yeah.
I think from start to finish, it rings really hollow. I think if you watch it in one spread, I think it's really good. But I do think from a week-to-week format, they leave so much for you to theorize because it is a mystery. And it's one of those things where you just kind of can't help but try to put the puzzle pieces together. And I just found it to be a little disappointing. And I think the end undoes all that Wanda has tried to achieve over the show. And that's get over the loss of Vision. And then she's just a mess again. So I don't really feel an arc for her. Whereas something like Moon Knight, I'll probably put a 5th because I do feel like there's some sort of arc there for the characters. Yeah. Oscar Isaac is very lovable. He's a cool dude. The Moon Knight outfit
is fantastic.
It's sick.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. And then from there, it's just kind of like maybe She-Hulk. But if She-Hulk's really good, it could beat out Moon Knight. But right now, I'll probably put She-Hulk there. Then Miss Marvel was actually a lot of fun. Like it was. The first episode, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this way better than Moon Knight. But I was coming off the disappointment of Moon Knight, and that's because Miss Marvel was so fresh. The editing, everything about the first episode was like, wow, this is refreshing in the same way that Spider-Man: Homecoming was when I first saw it. But then you get to Spider-Man: No Way Home, you're like, okay, I'm kind of tired of this.
Yeah.
This kiddie Spider-Man doing the same kiddie things.
Yeah. Well, it's after a hot day, you get a Diet Coke. First one is super refreshing, change of pace. You get another one, oh, you like it? Here's another one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. And it gets to a point where you just keep hammering that same thing. It gets very repetitive and it's not as refreshing anymore. I feel like Miss Marvel maybe did that. That first episode, I remember you and I be huge Weekend fans.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to talk about. Blinding Lights come up. We're watching. We start dancing. Like, I haven't... Like, we like Blinding Lights. We think it's... I think it's overrated.
For a Weekend song.
For a Weekend song.
Yes.
It's a great song, but knowing The Weeknd, there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
But there is just this feeling when that song came on, right at the beginning of that first episode, I was like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. That first episode was very good.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just fresh, to your point. Yeah.
Now, if we're going off What If here, kind of to wrap this all up, What If is a really interesting... we could do a lot of what ifs. One day I'd love to sit and do like biblical what ifs.
Yeah.
I think there's some crazy ones for potential there.
Well, that would have some serious implications.
Oh, yeah. I think
political
what ifs. I think what if as a whole, ever since the Marvel thing came out, everybody's been asking for a Star Wars what if and all those things. So I think from a cultural perspective, it's almost been one of the most impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And it opened up the Marvel Universe to showing other dimensions, whatnot, which is very neat. But I would probably put it towards the bottom. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
If that one even counts as the MCU shows. But.
Sure. I mean, I guess technically, yes. Maybe from a live action, we can rank them because that's a different realm. It was good. I liked it. It was nothing special. But it's a cool iteration. I think Star Wars Visions might be the closest that Star Wars fans have with the What If.
This is true.
And I think it's really cool. I personally struggle with, okay, if it's not canon, if it's not actually part of said universe or the story and the world building that they're trying to do, and it's just this different approach, what's the point? That's what I really struggled with What If at the beginning, but it is cool to explore those things, and we kind of see some elements of What If play out into movies and TV shows later on, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, but Visions is one that you've shown me some snippets.
It's cool.
It's been enjoyable. It was an enjoyable watch. There's a really cute one that you showed me. I thought was cool.
Tatooine Rhapsody. Yeah. Very excited. There's going to be a season 2 of Visions. There's also going to be season 2 of What If. There's going to be a lot of other announcements coming up this Saturday.
Okay.
Which is D23, which is Disney's big convention. So probably on the next episode, maybe we'll touch on some of those reveals.
Yeah.
Maybe give a little, if they announce in the movie, maybe we'll even do like a fake script. Like, this is what we feel like is going to happen. The dream pitch.
Picture this.
Picture this.
All right, guys. Picture this. Disney, picture this.
Yeah. Well, we'll do another successful episode in the books until next week.
Yeah. Picture this. Episode 4.
UOMO.